It's the beginning of 2026, and the United States Senate Committee for Commerce, Science, and Transportation just held an official hearing examining the impact of technology and social media on America's youth. In the hearing, the Committee of United States Legislators heard testimony from a panel of experts and then voted to advance the Kids Off Social Media Act, or COSMA, to the United States Senate, where it has now been placed on the official calendar for an upcoming vote on the Senate floor. If this legislation passes, it would effectively mean a ban on all social media use for children in America under the age of 13, with several legislators already indicating that they would be willing to raise the minimum age up to 18. This kind of legislation being talked about in the United States is a huge deal, and absolutely nobody is talking about it. So, if you want to know more, stick around, because we're going to be talking about how we got here, looking at some other countries facing similar legislations, and taking the key takeaways of the Senate committee hearing and what it means for you. So, without further ado, let's get into it. My name is Dylan McCoy. I am a member of Gen Z. I am also an educator with a bachelor's degree in elementary and special education and a master's degree in educational technology and instructional design. I am also a father and a parent of 2 children of my own, so this issue is something that I've been keeping a close eye on for a while now. If you like this video and are interested in topics about parenting, education, and technology, be sure to subscribe because I've got a whole bunch more videos coming up and you don't want to miss them. So, what just happened? Well, the Kids Off Social Media Act was originally a piece of legislation introduced to the Senate in 2024, but at the time, it wasn't able to make much traction and never made it past the committee stage or to the Senate floor for a full vote. However, with the recent success of similar social media bans in countries like Australia, France, and the UK, this piece of legislation has been reintroduced, and this time around it is getting much more support. Unlike the first time around, this version of the bill has already passed the committee phase, and as of February 2026, it is on its way to the Senate where it will be voted on by the full assembly. This piece of legislation, which is aimed at protecting kids from the harmful impacts of social media, would set a minimum age to use social media at 13 in the United States, and it would prevent companies from using algorithms to feed addictive content to users under the age of 17. Additionally, COSMA would require that all social medias be blocked on federally funded school networks and school devices. That means no more Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook for anyone under the age of 13. Even YouTube has been classified as a social media platform in the case of Australia's social media ban. Any accounts that are run by children under the age of 13 will be automatically taken down. Any content, videos, or posts that was on those accounts or made by people under the age of 13 will be deleted, and any social media company that is found allowing minors to post or use these platforms will be fined upwards of $50,000 for each violation. If you are an adult who still wishes to use social media, you will be required to verify your age in order to keep your account active. In the case of Australia, this meant millions of people were forced to upload their photo identification, which was then stored and linked to their social media accounts just in order to prove they were of age. If you are an adult who is unable to prove your age or identity, you may be out of luck. Even if you have an account that is age verified, if the algorithms detect there's suspicious activity on your account, like watching a lot of videos that might not be something an adult would usually watch, your account will be flagged and investigated, and if it is found to be shared with or accessed by any minors, it will be removed. The law currently only deletes the accounts of children under the age of 13, but it severely limits the features that are available to children between the ages of 14 and 17. Things like endless scrolling, algorithmic feeds will not be available, although they still will be able to have accounts. But several lawmakers and parents feel that this has not gone far enough, and have already indicated that they would be willing for a ban to go all the way up to 18 years old, making access to all social media entirely gone for minors in the United States.
And Mrs. Shurkin, you're on the same page with me when the question was asked about the age for social media, because I think we're dancing around the problem here. When we say that we have social media as an issue, well, why would we allow social media for minors? And we have a very strict definition in this country of what it means to be a minor. You have to be 18 years old. So could you even remotely make the case, Mrs. Shurkin, for anybody under the age of 18 to be allowed to access social media?
I mean, no, I don't believe it's needed.
Well, so the point being that it's easier to just say writ large, under the age of 18, you can't use social media, because there is all kinds of problems in all these platforms. And we can dance around it. We can say you can do this or that or the other. But at the end of the day, We don't allow children to smoke. That's
Agreed.
not controversial. There's nobody, well, maybe a few lobbies that are saying that children should have access to cigarettes. But almost this is worse than the cigarettes for this generation.
All of these things are already a daily reality for millions of people. Australia recently became the first country to ban social media in late 2025 with an age limit set at 16. And since then, it seems like the floodgates have opened. France made headlines shortly after by introducing a very similar piece of legislation with an age limit set at 15. And just this last week, it passed the French House of Representatives with an overwhelming margin of 134 and only 21 opposed. As of now, it's on its way to the Senate, where it is expected to pass with no issues. And not to be outdone, the UK, seeing this happening, has introduced their own social media legislation, which passed the first stage in their legislative process, the House of Lords, and is finding similar levels of support in the public and in the political sphere. And now the United States. That's 4 major countries, 4 groundbreaking pieces of legislation being fast-tracked through the legislative process with almost zero opposition in the matter of a few short months. So, how did we get here? Well, if you're a parent, it's no secret that we are living in a time where giving your kids access to technology, especially if you have younger children, has become a very controversial topic. It seems like it's impossible to go online nowadays without seeing a constant stream of videos, articles, and podcasts talking about things like brain rot, iPad kids, the death of literacy, the declining attention spans, increasing rates of youth depression and anxiety, etc. In his best-selling book, The Anxious Generation, which was published in 2024, social psychologist Jonathan Haidt makes the argument that kids today are far worse off than they ever have been before, and that many, if not all of these issues that have developed in the last 20 years are due to technology and the increased access that children nowadays have to it. Authors like Jonathan Haidt, video essay YouTubers, and TikTok lifestyle influencers have found great success writing about these kinds of topics, amassing large social media followings by warning parents about the dangers of technology and social media, and promoting a return to a low-tech lifestyle. Pledge movements are trending among parents to give kids no smartphones before age 18. Parents themselves are ditching their own smartphones in favor of so-called dumb phones, and schools are enacting bell-to-bell bans by forcing children to lock their smartphones away in time-delayed bags. That book, by Jonathan Haidt in particular, has actually been credited as the start of this whole social media legislation trend, with the Australian lawmaker who proposed the original legislation crediting it to his wife, who reportedly got a hold of the copy of the book The Anxious Generation, and after reading it, was so concerned with what she found that she told her husband to, quote, do something about it, and he did. Jonathan Haidt himself was seen meeting with key Australian lawmakers and making television appearances in the days and weeks building up to the law passing. After the Australian law passed, he flew to France, where he was photographed with French President Emmanuel Macron and had a meeting about the impacts of social media and technology on the youth. The very next day, Emmanuel Macron announced that France would be working on a social media ban of their own. Now, Denmark has announced plans to ban social media for under 15, while Norway is considering a similar proposal. The Spanish government has drafted a law which would require legal guardians to authorize access for children under the age of 16. Italy, Poland, Austria, Malaysia, Norway, India, all countries that are now in 2026 considering partial or complete social media bans. And that brings us back to today, where the Kids Off Social Media Act, or COSMA, is awaiting a vote on the United States Senate floor, and its odds of passing are looking pretty good. A recent Fox News poll in December 2025 showed that more than 2/3 of Americans support a social media ban on children under the age of 13, with more than half, or 64%, supporting a ban all the way up to the age of 16. Like I said before, absolutely nobody is talking about this. So, if you want people to be informed, please share this video, and if you want to stay informed, be sure to subscribe, because we are going to be keeping a close eye and updating you on anything that happens with this going forward. And if you are somebody who has something you want to say about this topic, I would encourage you, especially if you are a teenager, to get out there and make your voice heard. Make a video, make a post, because if you don't, soon, just like the children of Australia, you might not be able to anymore. Thank you.